Hey YouTube, my name is Big Boy Snatch on TV, aka What Kind of Snatch You Want, cause I got playing go around. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. As you can tell by the title of the video, this is my AEW Dynamite review and highlights. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys please watch the entire video from all the way from the beginning or towards the end. Hit that like button, subscribe to my channel for more wrestling content that I do on the channel. Make sure you guys share the video with your friends and family and tell them that I'm on the road to 11K before the end of May. Follow all my social media down below in the description and go check out my WWE NXT review and highlights that I did on the channel yesterday. Alright, without further ado, let's get started. Now, AEW Dynamite was a good show for what it was, and I give this show a 7 out of 10. It says, welcome to wrestling results for AEW Dynamite on May 13, 2026, coming to you live from the Hurrah Cherokee Center in Asheville, North Carolina. Moments after Darby Allin successfully retained his AEW World Championship against TNT champion Kevin Knight during last Wednesday's Dynamite and AEW Collision, Special MJF confronted Darby Allin looking for a rematch. Darby Allin told MJF that he will only agree to the match if MJF agreed to a title versus hair match. Kazuchika Okada confronted Darby Allin just moments after asking for a title shot of his own, which Darby Allin agrees to. Instead, Takeshita will be taking Okada's place in tonight's match. He will be challenging Darby Allin for the AEW World Championship. MJF will also be making an appearance on tonight's show with something on his mind to share, with the contract signing for his title versus hair match against Darby Allin having been set for tonight's of last Wednesday. The Demand Ricochet, Bishop Khan, and Toa Luna will be joining forces with the Don Callis family to take on Mac Jackson, Nick Jackson, and Jack Perry, and Kenny Omega of the Elite, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin of the Hurt Syndicate, and Chris Jericho in the Stadium Stampede match at AEW Double or Nothing. Elsewhere on May 24 pay-per-view event, Christian Cage and Adam Copeland challenged FTR, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wheeler for their AEW World Tag Team Champions in an I Quit match. Before both of those matches happened, FTR, their ally Tommaso Ciampa, and David Finlay and Clark Connors of the Dogs will be going head-to-head with the Young Bucks, Orange Cassidy, Adam Copeland, and Christian Cage in a 10-man tag match. Will Ospreay will be in action tonight as he goes one-on-one with the Bang Bang Gang, Ace Austin. All through, Will Ospreay was previously unsuccessful in dethroning Jon Moxley as AEW Continental Champion at AEW Dynamite on April 12th. He has sought out the help of Jon Moxley and the rest of the Death Riders to train him over the last couple of weeks on AEW Dynamite. Additionally, the brackets for both the 2026 Men's and Women's Owen Hart Foundation Cup tournament are set to be unveiled tonight. Alright, we are live. Excalibur, Tony Schiavone, and Taz greet audience at home before we see MJF walking around backstage. When Nate Paquette approaches MJF to ask if his thoughts about Darby Allin challenging him to a title versus hair match at Double or Nothing, and MJF says nothing. He continues to walk around backstage with several members of the backstage crew. Members and wrestlers give him glance as he passed by. Back at ringside, Tommaso Ciampa, the Dogs, FTR, and Stokely make their way out. The Young Bucks, Orange Cassidy, Adam Copeland, and Christian Cage follows. So we get the first match. So we get Tommaso Ciampa, the Dogs, and FTR versus the Young Bucks, Orange Cassidy, Adam Copeland, and Christian Cage in a 10-man tag match. Now this was a fun tag team match to watch. The bell rings and everyone began brawling with one another. Matt Jackson fires off right hands on Clark Counters on the outside as Cash Wheeler sends Christian Cage crashing into one of the barricades. Orange Cassidy sends Wheeler crashing into another barricade shoulder first, but Dax Harwood fires off an uppercut on Orange Cassidy inside the ring. Several competitors brawl on the outside as Orange Cassidy sends Hardwood crashing into the top turnbuckle face first. He delivers Tommaso Ciampa DDT. He delivers a DDT, tornado DDT on Hardwood, but David Finlay sends Matt Jackson crashing into the ring steps. Tommaso Ciampa tags in and continues to wear down Orange Cassidy. Then looks to clinch in a half Boston Crab on him. Nick Jackson tags in and takes out David Finlay and Clark Connors, but Matt Jackson tags in and rocks David Finlay with a super kick. He follows it up with a pair of suplexes on Clark Connors, but Stokely grabs onto Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson's ankle from the outside. FTR looks to blindside the Young Bucks from behind, but the Young Bucks sees him coming. Christian Cage tags in and low blows Wheeler, then rains down right hands on him. Back from the break, Dax Harwood stops Christian Cage from tagging out as all of the teammates pull Christian Cage teammates off the ring apron. Christian Cage and Dax Harwood crash into one another. But Adam Copeland and Clark Connors tag in. Adam Copeland delivers a back body drop to David Finlay to send him crashing into FTR and Tommaso Ciampa on the outside. But Christian Cage lands a double reverse DDT on FTR. Christian Cage, the Young Bucks, and Orange Cassidy ascends to the top rope. The four-man land splashes on FTR, David Finlay, and Tommaso Ciampa before Adam Copeland lands in an elevated flatliner on Clark Connors and pins him. Clark Connors kicks out, but Adam Copeland looks to fly out of the ring. FTR lands a shatter machine on Copeland and Clark Connors pins him, but Orange Cassidy breaks the fall. Orange Cassidy fires off his signature kicks on FTR, but everyone begins brawling with one another. Clark Connors looks to spare Adam Copeland, but accidentally his Dax Harwood. Then Adam Copeland jumps out of the way. Adam Copeland and the Young Bucks then delivers a triple super kick to Clark Connors, and Orange Cassidy follows it up with a orange punch. Adam Copeland connects with a spear on Clark Connors and pins him for the win. The winner of the match, the Young Bucks, Orange Cassidy, Adam Copeland, and Christian Cage. This was a good 10-man tag match. We then head over to a video of Will Ospreay's next training session with the Death Riders. John Moxley has Will Ospreay in a neck band. So let me get in my honest opinion. If Will Ospreay was to join the Death Riders, it can be something new in AEW, and that's all I gotta say. Anyway, back at ringside, Speedball, Mike Bailey, and Kevin Knight make their way out. Westbrook is already ready inside the ring. So we get Mike Bailey accompanied by the TNT champion Kevin Knight versus Westbrook. And this was a squash match, what it was. The bell rings and the two men go back and forth. Mike Bailey lands a spinning kick on Westbrook in the corner, then follows it up with a pair of flipping knees off the middle rope on him for the win. The winner of the match, Speedball Mike Bailey. This was a squash match, what it was. Brian Cage then makes their way to the ring, along with Lance Archer, with Cage answering the call for Kevin Knight's TNT Championship Open Challenge. Alright, so we get Kevin Knight accompanied by Mike Bailey versus Brian Cage accompanied by Lance Archer for the TNT Championship. Now, this match right here, I ain't gonna lie, this was a quick match for what it was. This was a quick match for what it was. The bell rings and Kevin Knight delivers a chop to Brian Cage's chest. Brian Cage does bicep curls with Kevin Knight in hand. He then levels Kevin Knight with a super kick and whips him into the corner chest first. Back from the break, Kevin Knight levels Brian Cage with a shotgun dropkick and looks to fly over the top rope to level Brian Cage on the outside. Brian Cage catches Kevin Knight Brian Cage catches Kevin Knight, but Kevin Knight sends Brian Cage crashing into the ring steps with the Hurricanrana and a clothesline off the ring apron. Mike Bailey levels Lance Archer with a super kick on the outside. but Brian Cage delivers a DDT to Kevin Knight and goes for a pin. Kevin Knight kicks out, but Brian Cage drags Kevin Knight up the ropes. Kevin Knight reverses into a Hurricanrana. Then follows it up with the UFO splash on Brian Cage off the top rope for the win. The winner is still your TNT champion, Kevin Knight. And this was a quick match for what it was. After the match, Bayley grabs a microphone and congratulates Kevin Knight on retaining the TNT championship against Brian Cage. Kevin Knight thanks Mike Bayley and says he's still standing, but admits he couldn't get the job done last week while challenging Darby Allin for the AEW World Championship. Mike Bayley tells Kevin Knight not to worry and says he'll be a future AEW champion. And Kevin Knight returns the statement before Mike Bayley says he wants the next shot at the AEW World Championship. Commentary then reveals the bracket for the 2026 Men's Owen Hart Foundation Cup Tournament, with Samoa Joe and Will Ospreay set to square off on a quarterfinals match at Double or Nothing, as are Swerve Strickland and Bandito. Brody King will also be taking on Claudio Castagnoli in another quarterfinals match, and Jack Perry will be going head to head with Mark Davis in another quarterfinals match. Back at ringside, Will Ospreay makes his way out. Ace Austin follows. Alright, so we get the next match. So we get Will Ospreay versus Ace Austin. This was a good match for what it was. The bell rings and the two men shake hands out of respect. They then lock up, but Will Ospreay lands a monkey flip on Ace Austin. Ace Austin whips Will Ospreay into the corner spine first, but Will Ospreay levels Ace Austin with a shoulder tackle. Ace Austin delivers a drop toe hold to Will Ospreay and connects with a kick on his spine. But Ace Austin gets Will Ospreay up on his shoulders and does a squat. He sends Will Ospreay crashing into the mat and pins him, but Will Ospreay kicks out. Back from the break, Ace Austin lands a clothesline on Will Ospreay in the corner and fires off several more on him. He rocks Will Ospreay with an enziguri and then with the enziguri to the back of Will Ospreay's ear as Will Ospreay sits on the top rope. Then delivers a Hurricanrana to send Will Ospreay crashing off the top rope and sits Will Ospreay on the adjacent top rope before he joins Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay escapes and catches a powerbomb to Ace Austin as Ace Austin flies off the ropes, then goes for a pin, but Ace Austin kicks out. Will Ospreay and Ace Austin fires off chops with kicks on one another, but Ace Austin catches Will Ospreay with a back heel kick. Will Ospreay responds with a kick of his own to Ace Austin, but Ace Austin lands a spinning kick on Will Ospreay's head and follows it up with a back body drop. Will Ospreay responds with the hidden blade and changes a Fujiwara armbar on Ace Austin. Ace Austin taps out. So the winner of the match, Will Ospreay. This was a good match between Will Ospreay and Ace Austin. Good match for what it was. After the match, the Ops Samoa Joe, Kazuchika Shibata, and Anthony Bowen make their way out. Samoa Joe says fate has put them on a collision. Corson says he's come to the ring to talk to Will Ospreay about choices and consequences. He says he has his date with Destiny in their 2026 Men's Owen Hart Foundation Cup Tournament quarterfinals match at Double or Nothing. Then he says Kazuchika Shibata and Anthony Bounds feel slight. Kazuchika Shibata and Anthony Bounds look to go after Will Ospreay, but the Death Riders make their way to the ring to provide Will Ospreay with backup. They're outnumbered by the Death Riders and Will Ospreay. The Ops decided to back down. Let me take a sip of my water. Let me continue. We then head backstage where Renee Paquette catches up with Konosuke Takeshita and the Don Collins family. I'm so sick and tired of the Don Collins family every Wednesday. But anyway, MJF approaches and tells Konosuke Takeshita that he hopes he wins the AEW World Championship tonight. Then he hands the Dynamite Diamond Ring to Don Callis after Konosuke Takeshita has left. He explained to Don Callis that he can't risk going bald, but back down when Andrade joins Don Callis. Alright. Commentary then reveals the bracket of the 2026 Women's Owen Hart Foundation Cup Tournament, with Will Nightingale and Alex Windsor set to go head-to-head in a quarterfinals match at Double or Nothing. Athena will also be facing Mina Shikara in another quarterfinals match, while Pressbone as Hazuki takes on each other in a third quarterfinal match, as are Sky Blue and Suri. Back at ringside, Triangle of Madness makes their way out. Hikaru Shida and the Brawling Birds follows. So we get the Triangle of Madness versus Hikaru Shida and the Brawling Birds. And this match right here, I ain't gonna lie, this was a solid match. What it was. Tekla and Jamie Hayter began the action. The bell rings and Sky Blue clocks Jamie Hayter from behind. Julia Hart brawls with Hikaru Shida as Alex Windsor brawls with Tekla, and Jamie Hayter goes after Sky Blue. Jamie Hayter then delivers a suplex to Tekla in the ring. Back from commercial break, Hikaru Shida sends Tekla crashing into the mat and goes for a pin. Tekla kicks out before Alex Windsor tags in and rains down right hands on Tekla. She delivers a big boot, Russian leg sweep combination to Tekla with Jamie Hayter, but Sky Blue trips Jamie Hayter as she runs towards the ropes looking for the double team on Tekla and Alex Windsor. Sky Blue tags in, but Alex Windsor delivers a sit-out powerbomb on Hart, thinking that she's the legal woman. Sky Blue sets up for Cold Blue on Alex Windsor, but Alex Windsor avoids it and rocks Sky Blue with a double forearm with help from Jamie Hayter. And Alex Windsor sets up for a Hayter line spinebuster combination on Sky Blue, but Tekla grabs her AEW Women's World Championship belt and hits Jamie Hayter with it to cause the disqualification. The winners of the match, Hikaru Shida and the Brawling Birds, wins by disqualification. And that was a solid match. What it was. After the match, the Triangle of Madness continues beating down Alex Windsor and Jamie Hayter. The referee tries breaking things up, but Julia Hart sprays Black Mist into their faces, with Hikaru Shida having disappeared from the ringside area. Willow Nightingale, Mina Shikara, and Thunder Rosa runs out to the ring to come to the Brawling Birds' aid. Alright, so we get Konosuke, Takeshita, and the Don Callis family make their way to the ring. Darby Allin follows. Alright, so we get the main event of the evening. So we get Darby Allin versus Konosuke Takeshita, accompanied by Don Callis for the AEW World Championship match. And this was the match of the night, in my opinion. This match between Darby Allin and Konosuke Takeshita, this was the match of the night. But when it comes to Darby Allin and Konosuke Takeshita, they both can go in the ring. They both got that dog in him. They both got dogs in him. So yeah, Darby Allin. When it comes to Darby Allin selling, when it comes to Darby Allin selling and doing all these crazy stunts on AEW Dynamite, he got that dog in him. But when it comes to Konosuke Takeshita got that dog in him too. So that's all I gotta say. But this was the match of the night between Darby Allin and Konosuke Takeshita for the AEW World Championship. This was the match of the night, and this was fantastic. The bell rings and Takeshita sends Darby Allin crashing off the ring apron with a big boot. The pair return to the ring, but Darby Allin looks to land a shoulder tackle on Konosuke Takeshita off the middle rope. Konosuke Takeshita blocks it. Konosuke Takeshita blocks it to send Darby Allin crashing into the mat and follows it up with a back body drop to him. then fires off knees on Darby Allin on the outside of the ring and drags the ring steps away from the corner. He follows it up with a blue thunder bomb on Darby Allin for the off the ring apron. Back from the break, Konosuke Takeshita delivers a German suplex to Darby Allin off the top rope and goes for a pin. Darby Allin kicks out, but Elcon appears at ringside, open the door for Don Callis to hand Takeshita MJF's Dynamite Diamond ring to use. Konosuke Takeshita throws the Dynamite Diamond ring out of the ring, not wanting to use it, but Darby Allin takes advantage and sends Konosuke Takeshita crashing into the mat. Konosuke Takeshita sits Darby Allin on the top rope and joins him up there, but Darby Allin catches Konosuke Takeshita with a code red off the ropes and pins Konosuke Takeshita. Darby Allin ascends to the top rope and set up for a coffin drop, but Konosuke Takeshita gets his knees up and delivers a jumping knee on Darby Allin. He gets him up, but Darby Allin escapes and changes in a scorpion deathlock on Konosuke Takeshita. He connects with a pair of coffin drops on Konosuke Takeshita and pins him for the win. The winner and still your AEW World Champion Darby Allin. This was the match of the night between Darby Allin and Konosuke Takeshita. Alright, so we get the closing segment right here. Darby Allin and MJF make their double or nothing AEW World Championship title versus hair match official. Alright, it says after the match, Darby Allin demands that MJF come to the ring for their double or nothing AEW World Championship title versus hair match contract signing. MJF obliges but hesitates to sign the contract. MJF says he's happy for Darby Allin and hopes he's have fun holding the AEW World Championship that belongs to him, but says there's a small part of him that knows this will be Darby Allin's last time holding the AEW World Championship. He says Darby Allin is a stuntman and says nothing matters anymore than a legacy. He says Darby Allin's legacy will be a kid who had 15 minutes of fame and has had no impact as AEW World Champion. Then says the fans will know deep down that Darby Allin just got lucky, was too reckless to stay on top. He says his legacy will be the guy who become an AEW World Champion at 30 years old. Then says he'll go down as the greatest of all time. Darby Allin says only someone like MJF who Van would think the number one thing in life is legacy. He says he doesn't care about legacy, but rather than present moments, and demands that MJF signs the contract so that he can make him bald-headed, at double or nothing. MJF gives in and signs the contract, then rains down right hands on Darby Allin using his Dynamite Diamond ring. He hits Darby Allin with the Dynamite Diamond ring to level him and grabs the AEW World Championship belt, then holds it over his head and stands tall. He drags Darby Allin up the ropes, looking to land a tombstone on him, but Kevin Knight comes to Darby Allin's aid. MJF retreats up the entrance ramp and to the back as Kevin Knight helps Darby Allin up and the show goes off there. Why did Tony Schiavone says Kevin Hart? Why would Tony Schiavone call Kevin Knight Kevin Hart? Well, I don't know why Tony Schiavone did that, but I don't know why. It was pretty funny. But Tony Schiavone was trying to say Kevin Knight, but he said Kevin Hart. That part was funny. But anyway, AEW Dynamite goes off the air. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for me to give my honest opinion what I think about AEW Dynamite. Now, AEW Dynamite was a good show for what it was, and I give it a 7 out of 10. You know what I'm saying? The main event match was Darby Allin versus Konosuke Takeshita for the AEW World Champion. Now, that was the main event match of the night right there. That was the highlight of the night. And that's all I gotta say from there. But other than that, AEW Dynamite was a good show, and I give it a 7 out of 10. But anyway, if you guys enjoy my AEW Dynamite review and highlights, make sure you guys please watch the video from all the way from the beginning all the way towards the end. If you guys are new here, make sure you guys like and subscribe for more wrestling content that I do on the channel, because I'm on the road to 11K before the end of April. Not end of April. I'm on the road to 11K before the end of May. Make sure you guys follow all my social media down below in the description, and go check out my WWE NXT review and highlights that I did on the channel. And I will see you guys tomorrow live on Twitch for some Invincible Versus. You know what I'm saying? I'm having so much fun playing Invincible Versus as well too. And that's all I gotta say from here. But anyway, I hope you guys will have a great night. Stay safe and always stay positive. Kept your crew, kept your kings, kept your club, Bullet Squad, Too Sweet. I'm out of here. Gang. Mwah. Bang. Too Sweet. Gang. And I will see you guys tonight for my upcoming world premiere for my AEW Dynamite review and highlights at around 5 o'clock a.m. So be there or be square. So I want you guys to have a great night. Stay safe and always stay positive. Kept your crew, kept your kings, kept your club, Bullet Squad, Too Sweet. I'm out of here. Gang. Mwah. Bang. Too Sweet. Gang.